Welcome to the Customer Wins podcast, where business leaders discuss their secrets and techniques for helping their customers succeed and in turn grow their business.
Hi, I'm Rich Walker, the host of the Customer Wins, where I talk to business leaders about how they help their customers win and how their focus on customer experience leads to growth. Past guests have included Frank Cowell of Revenue Ranch, Katie Cronkite of Good Words, Mike Jalonen of Habit Driven, and Eric Berger of Half Serious. Today, I get to speak with Murray Gray, co-founder of Xperiencify. And today's episode is brought to you by Quick, the leader in enterprise forms processing. When your business relies upon processing forms, don't waste your team's valuable time reviewing the forms. Instead, get Quick. Using our Form Extract API, simply submit your completed forms and get back clean, context-rich data that is 99.9% accurate. Visit quickforms.com to get started. Now, before I introduce today's guest, I'd like to give a big thank you to Murray's wife, Marissa Murgatroyd, the founder of Live Your Message, for introducing me to Murray. Go check out her website at liveyourmessage.com to learn how they help people build incredible education businesses that align to someone's true purpose. All right, now let's meet Murray Gray, co-founder of Xperiencify. Murray is a builder, specifically software platforms that make life easier for companies both large and small. He's a self-taught marketer and entrepreneur. He's insanely curious and loves learning new things, languages, and skills. His current passion is Xperiencify.com, and here's why. Online education is broken. Did you know that only 3% of people get results from online courses they buy? Xperiencify.com fixes that problem. It's a platform that combines learning with psychology, gamification, and Silicon Valley black magic. Murray, welcome to the Customer Wins.
Thanks so much, Rich. Great to be here.
I'm excited to talk to you. For those of you who haven't heard this podcast before, I love to talk to business leaders about what they're doing to help their customers win, how they built and deliver a great customer experience, and the challenges to growing their own company. Murray, we want to understand your business better. How does your company help people?
That's a great question. And I think that the answer to the question is we started at a point where we didn't feel like we were helping people.
Oh,
yeah.
Great place to start.
Marisa and I, we create courses and we do education, and we work with a lot of people who, want to, transform and be more and have more in their lives and grow their businesses. And we've been releasing courses for a lot of years, and we were looking into the numbers, and we realized that, as you alluded to in the introduction, is we only had a handful of people who ever bought our course who would finish it, who would get results. And then when we saw the numbers, we were heartbroken, because we were like, all these people are trusting us and paying us money and putting their hopes and dreams and desires into this kind of result of getting some outcome from the course they bought from us. And we were seeing not many people finishing the course, and we were like, what's going wrong here? And we started asking all of our colleagues and people in business around us, people in our industry, and we realized that it was actually an industry-wide problem with online education, is that people don't like it. People don't like going through courses, and they don't really like spending time watching trainings online. And that's and we found the completion rate, it was kind of averaged at around 3 to 5% across the industry. And we were like, how is this even possible? People are paying money and they're not finishing the courses. Is it our fault? Is it their fault? And when we asked our friends who are also entrepreneurs, they said, well, they paid us the money and they didn't go through the course. And if they don't have the motivation to finish it, then really that's on them. Mm-hmm. That's on them. We can't control what action they take after they buy. And that didn't sit well with us, because we feel like people have trusted us with their money and they didn't get the result. And so somehow the fact is that we failed the customer, and we kind of had a long night of the soul, and we were like trying to figure out what we could do differently to help get people results. And we kind of went down the rabbit hole of gamification and adult learning psychology, and what's Silicon Valley doing to keep us addicted, literally addicted to the phones and to the experiences and the apps on the phone. And we figured out a bunch of things. And when we applied those things to our courses, the funniest thing happened. They worked. They were.
Wow.
People started to really engage and get results from our courses, and it kind of 10x'd immediately because people were finding that we'd taken the experience that these kind of addictive experiences, and we'd taken elements from those and put it into the education, and people suddenly were starting to get results.
I
And they were
love this.
starting to really complete the course in record numbers and coming back to us to buy from us again and again and again. And that wasn't happening before because they just weren't getting results from the first thing they bought from us. So that's really what I would say is like that's how we help the customer. It's the old Zig Ziglar quote, that quote of you can get anything in life that you want as long as you help other people get what they want. And we
Yeah.
realized that we can grow our business and we get the results that we want from our business and the success as long as we help the people who trust us, our customers, to get what they want. And that's really what's led us to this point of realizing we weren't doing enough to help our customer. And we can now see that our own success is wrapped up completely and totally with helping our customer win. And as a
Man,
celebration, I've got
you win. I love it.
my You Win mug here that I've got my coffee in. And this is a cup that I made for this was going to be merch for my software company, Xperiencify, because it's a little computer game font there. It's looks
Yeah, it
like a
looks
video
like,
game, and
yep.
that really boils down to if you can help your customer win, then you win, and everybody wins. So that's
Murray,
I
there's so many things I love about this story
yeah.
because I don't know if you knew this, but I've published two books. And my first book, I started promoting it. And every now and then somebody would write to me, like a freshman at Alabama University. Is like, I didn't think I could walk on to the football team. I read your book and it motivated me and I decided. And he's like, and I got onto the team. And I got other stories like that. But the thing was, I discovered I'd sold hundreds of books. One out of 100 would actually finish reading it and apply it. And you know what? That actually demotivated me from wanting to help people with the book and promote it even further because I'm like, how am I ever going to reach these people? But I love that you guys said, we got to change this because we did do this work. We did build this value and they're not getting it. So how do we give it even better? I love that you think about that because that is a lot of entrepreneurs' journeys. Do you have a background in software to then take this and build it? I mean, how did you make that leap?
Yeah, so I have a computer science degree and left university with no job, no entrepreneurial sort of tendencies at all. My father was an engineer and my mother was a nurse, and uh, not entrepreneurs at all. But I realized that I didn't just want an office job. I wanted to have a job where I could help people. I could use my software skills, and people around me were kind of in the business space, and I was like, what can I do in the business space with software? And that really led me down the road of creating tools and applications that can help people in business, achieve more and help their customers better.
Yeah. So there's something else I was thinking about as you were talking about this, and that is oftentimes people who will coach sales, like a sales coach will say to you, you don't need more leads. You need to get more out of the leads you're getting. And to me, that's kind of the corollary, right? You've
Mm.
brought people to your service and only 3% are getting the value. And you found a way to turn that around to a much higher output. Is there a metric that you guys look at now? I mean, are you getting 20%, 40%?
The metric is going to sound unbelievable when I tell you what we're getting. But that I want to address what you said just right then. It was really profound. And the fact is that if you're only getting this percent, 5% completion on the courses, uh, and if you could take that up to 20 or 30 or even 50%, imagine the flow on effect of repeat sales from happy
Yeah,
customers
right.
and customers for life that you get in to the business because they've got results from the first thing. We do the same. We apply the same gamification techniques to lead magnets as well because if you have a lead magnet, then maybe 1% of people download and open and read. Maybe what if you could get like a 20 or a 50% read rate on a lead magnet? What would that do for your business? So really it comes down to figuring out how to help people be more successful. That is really the kind of the principle that underlines everything that we do is we use all these tools and tactics from different industries like gamification and Silicon Valley and Las Vegas gambling industry. How do we use all those things in a way that helps people become more successful. We're not just relying on people having the tools and the resources to be successful. We're helping them be more successful. So
Yeah.
what was your
And so,
question? I kind of
well,
didn't
no,
answer the
no. I mean,
question.
this is all interesting because you're helping people get more value out of who they're already working with. I mean,
Yeah.
you're right. You want the follow-on sale. So I was recently on a podcast called Inspired Insider to talk about how you create a super user for your product. Because if
Mhm.
you have a raving fan, what do? They're the word of mouth,
Yeah.
right? So we actually looked at our software and said, what are the key milestones and steps a user must take to go from interested party to actual paying user to super user, and try to help them achieve those milestones. We haven't hit gamification yet, which is why I want to talk to you even more.
Mhm.
But I think if you can recognize those things and you turn more people into super users, not only do you get more customers out of who you're already talking to, but you get more customers following on, as you said, because of the impact you're giving them. So I love that that's how you guys are thinking about this. Because again, it comes back to how you're helping your customer
Mhm.
win by using gamification and Xperiencify to improve their solutions, right?
Absolutely. And I remember you asking about the number. So we were getting like a 3 to 5% completion rate on our courses. And then when we tried these ideas to help people become more successful, we immediately had a 50%, 52% completion rate on the first course that we tried it on. And since then,
Wow.
we've evolved and improved the techniques even more. So some courses, some smaller courses are getting a 70% completion rate because of all the
Wow.
tools that we developed. And it's not about the tool, and it's not about the feature, it's not about the software. It's about the mindset of what can you do to make the customer to help the customer become more successful. And it's sometimes it's not about a paid tool. It's about just something that you can say or something that you can do differently or extra that really helps someone, change their state or change their frame.
All right, so let's get into some meat and potatoes here with Xperiencify. What are some of the key things that you're helping somebody do differently that improves their conversion and therefore their completion rates?
I think the first biggest thing that we do is we just take out all the overwhelm in the experience. So if you think about it, if you're like taking a course on how to, get familiar with money, or you want to do accounting for your business, or something that is important to you,
Hmm.
and you buy the course and you log into the course, and the first thing you see with most courses is, what do you see? Right, it's a lot of content.
Yeah, like where
There's a
do I
lot of content
start?
there,
And
you know? And what's your first reaction when you see like there's like 5 hours of content right there, videos, or 8 hours of videos right there? So your first instinct is, wow, that feels like it's valuable. Great. There's all the content here. I got what I paid for. I'm going to come back to this on the weekend because I can't really dedicate that amount of time. I don't really know where to start, and I don't really want to dive into this because it looks like it could be a multi-hour thing. So
hmm.
I'm going to just come back to this later. And what happens to most people is that later never comes. It's
Yeah,
that it really does send people down a spiral of procrastination.
yeah.
And it really discourages people from ever taking action, because the longer they wait to come back, the more guilty they feel about, I should get back to that. And the more guilty we feel, the less likely it is we'll take action, as you might imagine.
No, this happened. I bought a $1,500 course. I think I got a third of the way through it, and suddenly I felt like I'd been on this nice hike going up the hill, and suddenly I'm facing a 100-foot cliff I don't know how to scale.
Mhm.
And that's the point I stopped. I'm like, this next step is too much work.
Mhm.
And I just couldn't get over the overwhelm, and I backed off of it. And I'm like, I'll do this another day. And then another day has never happened.
Yeah.
So right. Oh man. So what do you do about that?
So what do we do is we tap into the human kind of the inbuilt, and I'm talking about our software platform here because we have courses in our platform, and when we run courses in our platform, the things we do include, we borrowed an idea from video games. If you imagine a video game where you log in and you do a few things and you get rewarded. They're really
Hmm.
easy things. It's like you log in, you boot it up, and you're like, click this button, boop, bling, and points. And then that's cool. And then you click on the next thing, and it's like a little more involved. You do something else. And then you check it off and you get some points, or you go and kill this really easy thing, kill an easy bad guy, and you get some points. So what they do is they get you taking action immediately by doing very, very small things. And before
Hmm.
you know it, maybe an hour's gone past and you're still going, That's cool. I'm going to do this, and you get some points, you get rewarded. So this is the same principle we built into our platform. And again, this is more of a mindset than a software thing. You can do this in any way that you like, that it makes sense. You want to give people what we call easy and constant wins. And this taps into our biology, and it gives people this feeling of momentum. And when you can give people these constant and easy wins as they as they first enter an experience, it's really hard to stop because you feel like you're making progress and it feels like you're gaining momentum. And for a lot of people, it's the first time they've felt that feeling in a long time because we're all in a constant state of overwhelm and a constant state of procrastination. And when someone comes into one of our courses, they're like, check it off, bing, check it off, bing, do this thing, check it off, points, celebrations. It's like a lot of things. It's almost like a video game. And they feel like this is so different to anything I've ever done online before with education, and I want more of this because I feel like I'm actually achieving something. So that's the first thing that we do.
So these points, I mean, when you think about a video game, points are just a measurement of achievement, just how far you've gone, how many gold you've collected.
Yeah.
You can't exit the game and go spend them somewhere, right? So you're really using that psychology, even if you're learning an accounting program or something else. I mean, I'm thinking accounting because that can be very dry, right?
Mhm.
And you're turning it into something engaging and fun. So I think that's really smart. Is it really like noises and the bings and the booms, et cetera, as well?
Exactly, it is. Yeah, it is. It is literally you check something off and you get some confetti and you get some points and there's a sound effect and sometimes there's a celebration that pops up that seems like it's out of the blue, random,
My
and we call
gosh.
that pattern interrupt, where something happens that people weren't expecting and it breaks a pattern of, oh, I know what's coming. And when people are in that habit or that pattern of I know what's about to happen, the brain has permission to power down and kind of switch off and go into energy conservation mode. And that's what happens in most trainings, most
Yeah.
education, and also most experiences in life. The brain can predict what's going to happen. So you like just sit back and you're like, all right, I'm just going to sort of take this in, and then eventually, or pretty quickly, you find yourself picking up the phone because you're in need of some dopamine.
Yeah. No,
You're
it's
just not
so
getting
true.
it.
It's so true.
So we pop up the pattern interrupts and the celebrations and the Easter eggs so
Yeah.
that people never have a chance to get into that really sort of disengaged state. And when the brain doesn't is never allowed to get into that state, it's in this hyper aware, hyper focused mode, which is where you want your students to be.
Yeah. Okay. There's something you're not exactly saying that I want to see if I'm right in intuiting here, which is that you're taking the course and then you must be breaking it down into bite-sized pieces. I mean, you've taken 5 hours of content or education. How do you guys break it down then? Is your software just doing that automatically and identifying the right points, or is that a skill?
Well, I'm a huge believer in I think the future of education is going to become more like TikTok and less like 1 or 2 hour sessions that you sit through and watch somebody go yak yak yak.
Yeah.
Nobody wants the yak yak. People want the TikTok that's a minute long. And I'm not saying that a course should be like a TikTok, but I'm saying borrow the ideas and borrow the principles from what makes that so successful because attention spans are invariably decreasing, and people don't have time to dedicate 2 or even 1 hour to a big long thing. So the more you can make the trainings more bite-sized, more maybe 10 minutes rather than 30 minutes, the better your engagement rate will be, the better the stick rate, the better the completion rate. And some people bring courses to us that are the old style, and they're not really willing to kind of recut or redo the course. And I get that because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
But we do encourage people to keep it on the smaller side. And what we do is we take someone's course that they bring to us and we wrap all of the other things around it, all of the stuff that I've already mentioned, plus other stuff that I haven't mentioned. And it creates the kind of I like to say ethically addictive experiences. That's the ethically addictive experience that we wrap around the course information that can really enhance and increase the engagement of the course.
So then it might be easier if somebody is thinking about building a course to come to you first and build it the way that the Xperiencify platform would leverage it the best and maximize it, right?
Yeah, we've got a whole methodology around the best way to build a course. So we've got a lot of documentation, a lot of articles about it. Believe it or not, when people build memberships like where you sign up and it's a monthly recurring billing and you get content every month, there's a way to set that up for best outcomes as well that we teach. So yeah, we have a lot of that kind of best practice available.
Nice. Okay, what is maybe this is a funny question. What do you think has been the most unique type of course that's come through your program? And I'm not saying reveal names or anything like that, but is it because like I mean, learning finance seems pretty straightforward. Self-improvement's kind of straightforward, but what's like the craziest thing you've seen?
We've had people doing swingers courses, like how to get into the swinger lifestyle. We've had
Oh my
people
gosh.
who are incorporating meditation with guns, like how to get into a meditative state as you do target shooting and things like that.
Wow.
It is it is I mean, the other answer to the question is I have people all the time asking me, Murray, um, do these ideas and techniques, do they work with what I'm doing? Do they work with this subject? Because I think my people are different. And my answer is these ideas only work with one kind of audience, human beings,
Yeah.
you know. And as long as you're dealing with human beings and trying to get them to engage, this stuff works and it works on every single human being on the planet. So it doesn't matter what you're teaching, this stuff will work.
So, I run a software company. Could we use this to develop a better onboarding process for our software?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you want engagement, then there's probably no better choice than to incorporate these ideas into your training because it's in everyone's best interest for your employees to be onboarded in the right way. Because if they onboard and they engage and they learn and they retain and they use the information that's in the onboarding in a much higher and deeper way, they do better in their job. They
Hmm.
feel better about themselves. They attain a bit more mastery in their position. They can get promoted faster. They're not going to leave earlier than you want, and you benefit. So it's like the customer in this situation is your people, your team. And if they win, then you will win, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Have you had corporations bring to you their training for their employees?
Yeah, yeah, we have a lot of companies bringing their trainings and bringing their sort of employee onboarding and reskilling and employee sales training stuff and partner training, all the different kinds of education you can name. We've had people bring it to us and say, "How can you help us make this more engaging?"
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. That's so awesome. Okay, so look, a lot of my listeners are in the financial wealth management space. They're
Mhm.
financial advisors, they sell life insurance, they're certified financial planners, things like that. Um, they have regulations that hold them back from producing content and such. Have you worked with anybody in this industry who has said, I'm going to educate, I don't know, my clients' kids on how to build wealth or something like that?
Yeah, we've got quite a few people who are creating courses and education around finance, and one of the finance is a challenging subject, and people have to change their identity actually to get better at finance and managing money because money is one of the thorniest topics there is, and people's identity is wrapped up with what they think about money from a very, very early age. So we have a lot of clients who are having success, and they're actually building a lot of community features into their course so that people can have people can encourage each other, and it's like that virtuous cycle of action and then recognition and social proof and people encouraging each other. So there's different ways to use all the features, all the gamification ideas and all of these psychological features to get people to engage and take action for different subjects and different topics. So I recommend a slightly different subset of ideas and strategies depending on like if you're in finance or if you're in personal development or whatever it is that you're doing.
Yeah. Okay, so I have to give a shout out to Joe Moss. He is the community leader for Pro Advisor Suite. I had him on my show, and one of the things that his vision is to build a community of people. So he's been building a space with RIAs and building it with vendors who serve the RIAs.
Mhm.
And what he's expressed is this view of if you build a really, really strong community, there's a ton of value in that.
Yeah.
And we're going to see companies being formed out of communities. We're going to see products formed out of communities, and we're going to see just the community itself being sold as an asset at some point. So I want him to hear this. And he's been a great fan of this podcast because he can apply this to the community methodologies too.
Yeah. Yeah. We're in the process of rolling out a lot of the same gamification ideas into community.
Yeah.
So I'm super excited about gamifying community, gamifying social engagement, and kind of like turning it into the kind of experience that people can have in a course in our platform, but the same kind of experience where they can't wait to come back and they can't wait to see what's coming next. It's
Yeah.
a really, really fun thing to be working on. I'm very, very privileged to have this be my job, you know.
So Murray, let me change the topic slightly here. What's your view on AI? Is artificial intelligence playing a role in what you're doing?
I think about it constantly. I think about it constantly because I think AI is going to pretty rapidly, in, you know, depending on your view of how fast it'll happen is kind of up in the air, but I think it's going to pretty rapidly come in and become like a companion when it comes to an educational journey. So I think AI, first we'll get the AI assistant when Apple rolls out the AI, which is going to be in the next 6 months, probably in the next 3 months, to everyone's iPhone. Siri is going to become the AI version of Siri is going to be the first exposure that most of the world has had to true AI, and it's going to change everything. When people
Yeah,
can
I
talk to
didn't
the
even think
iPhone and
about
have
that.
it have a conversation with a large language model that is better than GPT-4 right now, it's going to be probably, you know, halfway between 4 and 5. Who knows? Who knows what Apple's working on? They've been very quiet, but that is going to be game changing for everybody. People are going to be asking their assistant for everything, and I think that's going to naturally expand into the area of coaching, tutoring, and other kinds of instruction where you have in your pocket a computer that can train you one-on-one like you had a personal coach, and they're going to know your strengths, weaknesses, and where you need to drill and where you need practice, and it's going to be endlessly patient with you, and it's going to be able to pick up right where you left off, and it's going to be, you know, zero cost. So I think AI is going to be changing education in the biggest way possible, and I am obsessed with trying to figure out how I can incorporate in those advancements and how I can sort of bake them into what I'm doing in Xperiencify so that I can help my customers stay ahead of this and help my customers be more successful.
Yeah. So I can imagine all the Easter eggs you can plant. If you ask the AI this question, that reveals a celebration. You asked the right question.
Yeah.
No, that's fascinating. How do you think it might impact, I mean, how you guys in your software business then deliver? I mean, are you thinking you're going to put AI into Xperiencify, or you're just going to work with the AIs that are out there to present what you already do?
That's a great question. I don't quite have the answer to that one yet. One crazy idea I had was to create an app, an iPhone app or an Android app for every one of my creators. Every one of my customers have an app that they can, you know, they can upgrade to the app, and it could be called, who knows what it's called, but basically it's the app that contains all of the information inside all of their courses. So, Rich, you could upload your book, every course you've ever created, all the content you've ever put out, upload it up to Xperiencify. Will give you an app back that then you can sell access to your customers as, you know, it's going to be, you know, rich in the pocket kind of thing. And it's going to be your personal tutor for everything that you teach about. And they're going to be able to interact with you on a one-to-one personal coach level. And you'll be able to walk them through any kind of transformation or educational journey that they might want to go on with you within the guardrails of what it is that you talk about.
You know, I have a passion for helping people be their best version of themselves. That's why I wrote my book, actually, both my books. And this is something I think about is like, how could I build an app that replicates me, the experience of talking to me or interacting with me without me having to be on the call? Because I want to clone myself, so to speak, and not put in 20-hour days. I'd rather have the time put into creating the content and have that content serve people in a meaningful way. I mean, as it is, I actually use ChatGPT with this podcast to read all the podcast transcripts so it knows my voice. And then it can write things in my voice, which come out pretty good. I still edit them, of course, but it comes out pretty good. So I would love to see this happen. So I like that you have that idea. Look, we're getting close to the end here, and I do have another question for you. But before we wrap up, what is the best way for people to find and connect with you?
The best way to connect with me is my website, Xperiencify.com. You can drop me an email at Murray, M-E-R-R-A-Y, at Xperiencify.com. And that starts with an X, Xperiencify.com. That'll be the best way.
Nice. Okay. So, we talked about you becoming an entrepreneur. Who's had the biggest impact on your decision to make that leap into being an entrepreneur?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. I think it goes back to my dad, who I mentioned at the very start of the session today. He was an engineer. He always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but never really got out of the research mode. Like he would research forever and never do anything. And I couldn't get a job out of university, and I just decided to start making things for people because I thought if I could put some value into the world and help somebody, then I'd get paid for it. So I just started using my skills to do something and help someone. And then they started to pay me. But business was slow and it wasn't really growing fast. I was still living with my parents. I was like 24 or something, living and working in my bedroom. And at one point, my dad took me aside and said, you're 24, you're still living at home. Are you sure you don't want to go and get a job? Because you're very employable. And I said, no, Dad, I really believe in what I'm doing and I think that I'm going to make it work. So, if you could be patient, I'd really appreciate it. And that was the last time he ever said anything like that to me. He was like, okay, I get it. This is important to you. And I believe in you. So after that point, it was like, he'd always been very supportive, but that was the only time he ever said that to me. And it was the last time that I felt any kind of, maybe you should do something else. And that really empowered me to believe in myself more and really hit it hard and push to try and make myself a success.
What an amazing parent.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, because, how long are you going to be on the payroll with him, right? And he has that concern, but he sees your passion and interest. So wait, does this mean you've never had a job?
I mean, I've worked as a contractor, a freelancer for other companies, but my last real job was the salad bar at Sizzler. I was a Sizzler salad bar guy when I was 17 or 18.
Wow, that's amazing. That is amazing. Congrats on your success and your journey. That's totally awesome.
Thanks.
All right. So I have to give a huge thank you to Murray Gray, co-founder of Xperiencify, for being on this episode of The Customer Wins. Go check out Murray's website at Xperiencify. That's Xperiencify.com. It's listed below in the comments, so you can look below this. And don't forget to check out Quick at quickforms.com, where we make processing forms easier. I hope you enjoyed this discussion as much as I have, and will click the like button, share this with someone, and subscribe to our channels for future episodes of The Customer Wins. Murray, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you so much. It's been a blast.
Thanks for listening to the Customer Wins podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.